Hey guys, what is up? Big Red Reviews here. I'm here with a special guest today,
What's up?
Shane. You guys will be seeing more of him. We had the idea. We had the idea to do this video because we're about to go see the Avengers re-release in about 2 hours. So I wanted to do something that my friend Nicole suggested to me, and that is top 5 MCU films for personal. And he will have his, and we're gonna agree, disagree, fight, fist fight, whatever. So I'm gonna have him go first because he's the guest. Go ahead and give us your number 5.
My number five. My number five came out to be Thor Ragnarok.
Okay.
Just purely on comedy and the storytelling that happened. I like the director. Does very good films. So I mean, Thor Ragnarok had to be it, based solely on comedy and for storytelling.
Okay. And we're also going off of we're not going off of like set design or anything like that. We're going off of how much fun we had at a theater, the hype we had before the movie, and our overall feelings for the movie.
All these films we saw at theaters.
Theaters
on big screen.
So what was your favorite part of Thor Ragnarok?
I thought it was really powerful when after Hela cut his eye, then he hit the lightning on her, and then immediately went down to the Bifrost Bridge.
Led Zeppelin.
And right when Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin started coming on, that's how you know.
That was crazy.
That was the most OG.
I'm gonna say right now that movie is not on my list, even though it should be. But I do love that movie. I had a lot of fun with it. I unfortunately didn't see it when it first came out because I was waiting for someone to go with, and then they canceled. So I had to see it like 2 weeks late, but it's still a great movie overall. Korg is probably one of the best MCU characters.
Yes.
We need a Korg movie. My number 5 is Avengers 1. And I know it should be probably up more, but I have my reasons. It doesn't have anything to do with Avengers 1 being bad. It's just I like other movies better. Avengers 1 is something that everyone said could not be done, and they went out and proved everyone wrong. Wrong. And I mean, you have these superheroes that are iconic superheroes that you've had movie build up. I'm looking at you, DC. Each of them had their own movie except Black Widow and Hawkeye, which they should have. I don't know why Black Widow's getting a movie now.
If they were going to do a Black Widow Hawkeye, they would have to do it in the same.
Well, film. They're filming Black Widow right now, but
they would do a Black Widow Hawkeye.
She should have had her movie earlier. Is what I'm trying to say. But we knew these characters because we met Black Widow in Iron Man 2. We met Hawkeye in Thor 1. So like it's not like we didn't see these characters before. They had build up. They had reasons. Loki is probably one of the best villains the MCU has.
Yes.
Is he the best?
No.
That's safe for another video. But he just said no. I think we all know who's best. But I digress. Probably one of the best, besides Iron Man 1, probably the best MCU end credit scene as of Endgame. Infinity Wars was pretty good.
Yeah.
But, I mean, overall it was just good. I mean, the pacing was good. The emotion was good. Even, like, the dialogue was really good because for, like, a good 30 minutes of the movie, there's no action. It's just them at the helicarrier fighting. And they're, like, they're tearing each other down, which I really liked. But that's mainly what I like about it. My favorite scene is probably when either Hulk smash and you get the iconic shot of the 360 of them, or when Iron Man goes into space and then he closes his eyes.
I think one of the top ones is when they're cornering Loki in Tony's apartment in Stark Tower, and he just
Number 4.
Number 4. All right, number 4. It had to come down. Iron Man 1. Iron Man 1 had to become top 5, just purely on how it sets up the coming movies and how it gets the crowd hyped for what's next, and the amazing acting by Robert Downey Jr. Honestly,
Redeemed himself.
Yes, absolutely.
But I mean,
it's pretty much kickstarted his career in Marvel, so that's Iron Man 4.
Well,
Iron Man 1.
Number 4 for me is Iron Man 1. Because it's like Iron Man. I don't know what I'm trying to say right now. Like Robert Downey Jr. It's just they took such a gamble. They took such a gamble trying to make a cinematic universe because nowadays everyone's trying to make it. Godzilla, DC, everyone. Back then it's not really heard of. So now you have Iron Man and then you have this end credits scene. But back then no one really stayed for end credits scene, so they didn't even know if people were gonna watch it or not. And then it came out and they mentioned Avengers and everyone just started shitting their pants and it redeemed Robert Downey Jr. I mean, everyone's had mistakes in life, so I mean, you could say redeem, but I mean, he just had a little mistake, and now he's one of the
good. Yeah.
top grossing actors of all time. The CGI was great for 2008. It's even better than some of the newer movies Marvel has put out, like the third act of Black Panther or even Iron Man's suit in Infinity War. I say the suit in Iron Man 1 looked better than the Infinity War one. I think a lot of people agree with that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but I mean,
The story was really good too.
the story was great. The action, the comedy, the emotion with Tony Stark and seeing how he is like this philanthropist and then he can have his like soft moments too, which you see more in Iron Man 3 and 2 and all that. But overall, it was really good. But one more, about the CGI thing, I don't really mind CGI if the movie's good. Like Black Panther was good, so I wasn't sitting there like, oh, CGI fucking ass, you know? Because I know how hard CGI is. So, all right, I digress. That's number 4. Number 3.
Number 3, Captain America: Civil War.
Okay.
All right, I had to put Captain America: Civil War up there, based on the whole arc between Tony and Cap, and the just the amount of feud that goes on, and just I don't know, it was just a different experience seeing Avengers go at each other and what kind of counters they would use, and the introduction of Spider-Man was very
That was
very
hype.
good. It was very hype.
Do you remember where you were when the trailer dropped?
I remember exactly where I
Where
was.
were you?
The trailer dropped. I was sitting in my car on the way to your house, and I remember calling you right after I saw it, and I was like, "Did you just see Spider-Man catch Captain America's shield? Did you see that?" Yeah, and he's like, "Dude, that was so crazy." Blah blah blah. But yeah, that was iconic.
That was like it was
iconic.
really iconic. And I quickly before I say my number, what are we on 3? 3.
Mhm.
I remember where I was in chemistry class and I kept getting text messages from people like my senior friends who were out of school because I didn't really use my phone back then in class because I was a good boy, and they would say they said, "Have you seen the end of the trailer?" I'm like, "Shut the fuck up,"
Yeah.
because I don't want it to spoil. I knew they were probably gonna show Spider-Man because everyone was disappointed they didn't show him in the first trailer, but they showed him and that was great. But my number 3 is Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier.
Yes,
Okay.
Winter Soldier is known throughout the MCU fandom as like one of the best films in the MCU, and I would go as far to say that Captain America has the best trilogy out of any of the characters. Because Iron Man had a great trilogy. It's just 2 wasn't. I honestly liked all 3 of them, you know, but people don't really like 2, and some people don't like 3. Thor had Thor 2, which was pretty not good, and then Thor
Dark World was booty.
Thor 1 was decent, but then Thor 3 like redeemed it.
Yeah.
But just Winter Soldier, you see Captain America, and when they announced they were making a sequel, I just wanted to see Captain America adjusting to 2014 life back then, and they did that. Like you see him making the list. You get, and this is one of the darker MCU films. Like it has comedy, but it has a lot of dark scenes,
Absolutely.
especially with Winter Soldier and his theme. His theme alone would give me goosebumps. And then you had Nick Fury in it with him, and just everything about it. Shield and this and not Chris Evans. Steve Rogers just idolizes Shield and he wants to work for them. So when you find out that Shield's evil, I really liked seeing him crumble like that and him just and on top of that, Bucky's back and it just
Absolutely. Yeah.
going through all this stuff. And that was the first film directed by the Russo brothers, so we also were introduced to them. And
Absolutely.
yeah, so now we are down to our final 2.
Final 2.
Number 2.
I mean, they might know what they might be,
Probably.
but my number 2 would have to be Infinity War. So I mean, Infinity War was probably before I saw Endgame. Infinity War is probably my favorite movie of all time.
So you just gave away your number 1.
I mean, it,
Okay.
Thor: The Dark World is my number 1.
Yeah, Thor: The Dark-
Absolutely.
Okay, my number. I'm gonna say this right. My number 2 is Infinity War. My number 1's Endgame.
Yes.
A lot of people would put Infinity War number 1, and I can see why. Infinity War had a lot more action, while as Endgame had some slower pace. But I like that.
It was the slower pace all the way up to the big build-up.
No, because they had some scenes like it was the beginning, and then they had some slow, and then they had the time travel part, which wasn't that slow. But it might have been slow, but it was interesting slow. If it's interesting slow, I like it.
Yes.
And like you get to see Cap and Tony unite, which I wanted to see in Infinity War. You didn't
Yes.
see it. But let's start with Infinity War first. Infinity War is probably the most like I was really hyped for Endgame, but Infinity War is probably the most hyped I've ever been for a movie.
Absolutely.
And I think my hype level for Endgame matched it, maybe right under, because I think Infinity War was different because like we didn't know what to expect. We didn't know what Thanos was going to look like. We didn't know what tone it was going to use. We didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know if all the Avengers would be together. We didn't know at that point if that it was going to be Avengers 3 and 4 because we thought it was going to be part 1 and part 2. We didn't know anything. And I remember I was driving to Atlanta and the footage leaked from D23 and it showed Thanos pulling the moon down. It was like shit quality. But I remember it got leaked. And then we had to wait from we had to wait till November 20. I remember the trailer dropped November 29th and that trailer dropped. And I was in math class and my teacher let me not do work the whole day and I just watched the trailer. And I just rewatched it.
Yeah. I gotta say something too. Josh Brolin, very amazing cast, dude. Amazing cast.
Amazing. He was in Guardians of the Galaxy as Thanos, and that was like when Thanos wasn't even fully developed yet.
Right.
But his voice was still there, and he just brought a level of emotion. That's what I think makes Thanos. The Infinity War Endgame would not have worked if it wasn't for Thanos being such a good villain. His motives, you kind like obviously they're not good, but you can see where he's coming from. Like, oh, his planet was screwed over. He thinks, making... And to the people that say, why didn't he just double the resources? The Infinity Gauntlet can't do that, all right? So...
Apparently it can't create more matter out of nothing.
I think there's something else in the comics that they explain would happen if he did that. But, yeah, you can't create matter. Well, you can't... I don't know. I don't know the explanation. All I know is that's what the comics say, so I'm sticking to it.
Right, so...
But, I mean... Then you had Iron Man, you had Doctor Strange meeting, which was one of the two anticipated ones, because they're both narcissists, in a sense. Cap with the beard, Cap being a rebel after Civil War, and then Endgame just was such... Like, before they said... But when they announced that it was going to be Avengers 4 and not Part 2 to Infinity War, everyone's like... And they said it was going to be a completely different film. No one knew what that meant, but when you see Endgame, you could tell it's a different film. The tone... The objective, just the time travel itself. Are there plot holes? Yeah. Does every movie have plot holes? Yeah. But
absolutely.
If you go into a movie just thinking of the plot holes, you're not going to have a fun time. Right. That's why that's a movie, on the other hand. I mean, my favorite movies like Endgame and all these movies have plot holes. Do I admit that? Yeah. I'm not going to go looking to solve every one of those plot holes for the haters. I'm not. I mean, if they want to do that, whatever.
Right. Like, Cap returning the stones, how does he return the Soul Stone? Like, who knows?
The timeline thing, everyone...
Who cares?
The thing about the time travel, everyone thinks that when he goes back in time, and when anyone goes back in time, they're in the same timeline that the regular MCU is. What people don't understand is the minute they change something in the past, that creates a new timeline. That's not the OG timeline from Iron Man 1.
Right. When
Loki takes the Tesseract,
exactly.
That's a whole... Everyone's like, so Loki's alive in the MCU. No, that's a whole nother timeline.
He's alive in his timeline.
So when they're time traveling, it's almost like they're going through wormholes to another dimension. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
Like when everyone's like, so is Agent 13 his granddaughter that he kissed in Civil War? No, because in that timeline Peggy married someone else.
Right.
So it's not, and everyone gets confused about it, but that's really what happened. But I'd say the final hour of that film is my favorite hour in the MCU. The minute they get back from time travel and the minute Hulk snaps, from then to the end is probably the best MCU
absolutely
time in my you have the OG3 going at him, and then you have them almost dying. You have Cap picking up Mjolnir. You have on your left with the portals coming up. Everything. Then you have Thanos going out like a fucking legend. That's what I wanted. I wanted Thanos going out like a G. So I really like, if you notice, I know a lot of people probably don't notice this, but Thanos has his own theme. In Infinity War and Endgame, there's like this dark, like almost like a guitar note every time he's on, like dun, dun.
And now it's here. Or should I say
here or something. When Iron Man snaps, you hear the hopeful music. When it switches to Thanos, you get his theme for the final time, and he just sits down and he accepts it. That's the man Thanos is. He's the GOAT. I don't give a fuck.
Hey, I mean, in the future, he completed his mission.
Yep.
This is 2014 Thanos. He's not the same Thanos.
And everyone's like, and so that's the other thing. We keep talking about plot holes with this movie, but everyone keeps talking about how Thanos is so powerful in this movie. 2014 Thanos is war Thanos. He only wanted...
He's going planet to planet, exactly, destroying them.
Killing half the using guns and shit.
Yes.
The thing about him is he's out for blood. That's why he just doesn't care. That's why he's just kicking ass. In Infinity War,
he has the stones and he's more mindful.
No, it's a religious thing. That's why he takes his armor off. Mm-hmm. And that's why he spares Iron Man and he trusts Doctor Strange. He spares because he wants the stones to do it. Then he just retires. He could. If that was 2014 Thanos, he wouldn't have retired. He would. Right. And 2014 Thanos' objective was kill everyone and then him rule it. That's different from half the universe. But anyways, guys, we can make a whole video on Endgame and the timelines and
Yeah.
shit. We probably will eventually. But what do you guys think of our top 5? Do you agree? Do you disagree? What would you add? What would you not add? Let me know in the comments below. This is Shane. You'll see him a lot more.
So,
I like making videos with more people. So until next time, this has been Big Reviews and Shane Goble. Peace out.